So percents are something that we use a lot in real life, and in most cases you're figuring out some kind of problem or some kind of amount that involves including a percent or taking away a percent. So there's really two methods that people frequently will use. One method is to first find the percent of the original amount. So you would find the percent of the number that you're starting with, and then you're going to either, depending on the situation, add it to or subtract it from that original amount, depending on the situation. So for example, Cole has a coupon for 30% off at his favorite store. If the cost of his items is $128, what will his final cost be after the 30% off coupon? So what we need to figure out here is how much is 30% off of $128, and then take that amount off of $128 to find out what the final total would be with that reduced. So we're going to start off by finding 30% of $128. And so to do that, remember, we take the percent, turn it into its decimal form. You could also use fraction, and then multiply that times 128. And when I do that, I find that 30% of $128 is $38.40. So now that is not what Cole's paying, that's what Cole's saving. So if the question is what's his final cost, we have to take that savings off of the original amount in order to get what the final cost is. So that's what we want to make sure. When you have problems involving percent, pay attention to what the question is asking. In this case, it's what's the final cost, not what's the amount saved. So it's just one extra step. We take the $128 original amount and we subtract $38.40 to find that what he's going to pay is $89.60. So that is his final cost, because that's after we've taken the savings of $38.40 off. So I like to, when I'm doing problems like this, go ahead and kind of label what each thing is, and that way, depending on what the question's asking, I've got all of the different possible answers that I might need. So now that's one method. Another method is, instead of calculating the percentage off or the percentage that we need to add on and then adding or subtracting that amount, the other option would be to actually think about combining or taking off the percentages first and then finding that final percentage of the original amount. So what you would do is you would add or subtract the percentages, then you would find that final percentage of the original amount. So what would that look like? Annie's dinner cost $12.50. If she leaves a 20% tip, how much will she spend altogether for dinner? So what we have to think about is her final amount that she's going to spend on dinner is her cost of her dinner plus the tip that she wants to leave. So if we think about those in terms of percentages, her cost we would consider to be 100% of her dinner cost, and the tip is an additional 20%. So what she's spending altogether is actually 120% of the cost of her dinner. So now if we find 120% of the cost of her dinner, $12.50, that will give us her final amount that she's spending, because it'll represent her cost plus her tip. So now we do decimal form of the percent, could also use fraction, times the cost of her dinner. So 1.2 times 12.5, and that gives us $15. This is her final altogether cost, including her tip, because we've accounted for the cost plus the tip when we combine the percentages. You can also do this if you are subtracting an amount. For example, up here with the example with Cole, we would have taken the 100% representing the cost of his item, subtracted 30% representing his savings, which would mean that what he's paying is 70%. So if we had found 70% of 128, that would have taken us directly to this final cost. And down here, we could have used the first method. We would have just found 20% of 1250 and then added that to 1250. It really doesn't matter which method you use. Just find one that works for you and go with it. So the other thing to keep in mind is that there are some situations where you add and there are some situations where you subtract. Take a moment and think about what would be real life situations where you have a percentage that you need to add that on, and what are some real life situations where you would subtract. Okay, so what did you come up with? Here are some things that I've thought of. When you need to add, that's going to be things like tips, tax. When you need to subtract, that's going to be different things that involve some kind of discount. So that's usually things like a coupon or a sale. Another situation where you would add is something that stores do called markup, and that's where they take the price they paid for something and then they mark it up. They increase the price before they sell it so that they can make a profit. Another type of discount is sometimes called a markdown. There are other types of situations. So as you come across them, please add those to your notes in your notebook. So now let's try a couple of practice problems. The Martinez family went out to eat. Their bill was $52. If they leave a 20% tip and have to pay 7% tax, what will their total cost be for the dinner? So something to keep in mind with a situation like this is that we don't traditionally pay a tip on the tax, and we don't typically pay tax on the tip. So really, we need to find 20% of 52 and add it on, and we need to find 7% of 52 and add it on. We wouldn't find the price including the tip and then find the tax, or find the price including tax and then find the tip. We would do those both off of the 52. So to me, this seems like a problem where it's going to be a little more straightforward to go ahead and combine all of these percentages and find that total percentage of $52. So I've got the original amount of the $52, that's going to represent by 100%, plus the 20% tip, plus the 7% tax means that really altogether they're paying 127% of their bill as their total cost. Because notice it says it's asking for total cost. So now if I do $52 times the decimal form of 127%, that's 52 times 1.27, that's going to give me that their total price for dinner is $66.04. And that is their total cost. So I'm going to label that just to be really, really clear that that's what I mean that is. You also could very easily have found 20% of 52 and then separately find 7% of 52 and then add both of those amounts to the original total of 52, and that would still give you $66.04. All right, let's look at Joseph. Joseph is buying a present for his grandma's birthday. Her gift costs $37.50, but he has a discount coupon for 15% off. How much will the gift cost after the discount? What is his final cost with 7% sales tax? So this is a multiple step problem because we need to find the sale price after we've taken off 15%. So that's what's the price after the discount. But then we also need to find final cost with 7% sales tax because in real life we have to pay tax on most items. So to do this, we're going to need to find 15% off of $37.50 and take that off. And then we're going to take that sale price and find 7% and add it back on. So let's use the first method for this problem. So we're going to need to do 15% of $37.50. So that's going to be 0.15 times 37.50. And when I do that, I get that it is 5.625. Now our money only goes out to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to need to round this, and that's going to be then $5.63. Now that's not the sale price, that's the discount. So I'm going to label that. That's the discount. So I'm going to take this amount and I'm going to subtract it from the original price. So $37.50 minus $5.63, and that's going to give me a sale price of $31.87. So that's the sale price. Now, I'm not done completely. So this is the cost after discount. So that's part one. Part two is what's the final cost with 7% sales tax. Now you find tax on the sale price. They don't charge you tax on the original price. They charge it to you just on what you're actually paying. So I'm going to take this $31.87 and I'm going to find 7% sales tax. So I'm going to multiply that times 0.07 for 7, and that equals 2.2309. Now again, our money only goes out to that many places, so that's going to round to $2.23. That's the tax. Again, that's not the final price. That's how much we need to add to the sale price, because we have to add that on. And so when I do that, I get $31.87 plus $2.23 gives me a final total of $34.10, and that is my final cost, or his final cost, after the discount, including sales tax. This is probably one of the most common types of situations that we see in real life with percents, where you have some kind of discount, but you also have to count for tax. And it is multiple steps, but if you keep track of what you're doing and you label things, it's usually something that is pretty doable.